basically nano. I chose X-ray spectroscopy. Doesn't really matter the detail. But
Okay.
as part of that, your final paper is worth 25% of your overall grade. And
Sounds about right.
you need to work together with. And
Ugh.
so naturally, being that you're spending about 98% of your time dealing with general relativity and quantum theory 3, both of which are very difficult subjects, which I can show you screenshots of because the math was stupid. You just decide, fuck it, match me with someone, I don't care. So you get someone that is allegedly another fourth year physics. Fourth year being the last year before you graduate. And looking at his student number, he does in fact seem to be a fourth year student. He entered roughly the same year you did. So you get through all of that, and throughout the year you say, or throughout the term you say to him, look, I'm gonna do my half of it on like the last day because I'm super fucking busy. But I did this for a lab last term. I literally am citing myself part of it. I can get this done in like 6 hours. Big deal. So that goes for the entire term. You've known about this since basically the first week. And so you get to the beginning of finals week and you go, okay, well, have you started yet? As I've said, I can't get anything done, but I can do it. And he just says, no, it's fine. You get to the day of, you wake up, you rip out your half of the essay in a total of about, say, 4 hours, give or take. Including citations. You've cited yourself as part of this because I did that.
I've been there before, yeah.
So you message him and you say like, hey, it's the day of, you should probably get started on this.
Yeah.
Hang on, I need to go find it because I took screenshots of it because it was so stupid. This.
Might ask since stream is going and we might condense this.
Oh, never mind. I'll finish it later. Point is, like, it's just so stupid.
You're gonna leave stream hanging like that?
I mean, I can stop if you want. I can keep going if you want.
God. I mean, let's get into the book. That's over here.
Okay.
We can finish the story later.
What's up, dipshits? I'm actually gonna do an intro. I've decided. It's gonna be very
God.
cool. Yeah, we're professionals. We're professionals.
Oh,
We have standards?
Well, I wouldn't say we have standards, but we are professionals.
Oh, okay.
This is gonna be like a fucking unsubscribe intro, okay? We're doing a book club. Redneck is very excited to know what this book club is about, so I have to let everyone know that we got a full house. If you look in the top left, we've got at the top Crazy Anne, who for some weird reason has decided to date Zombie. We don't know what's wrong with her, but that's what's happening.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Many things. Too many things to list.
Yeah, like a lot.
Yeah, Damu's here. He's gonna bring some scientific, facts to this discussion, I'm sure. Or autistic, either way. I'm here. Mostly, I'm just gonna be playing for the visual entertainment. Cyborg's here. He never says anything, but he is here. And then the last and least is Zombie.
That's a little rude.
Okay. So we're talking about Animal Farm today. As a filthy homeschooler myself, I never have read Animal Farm until like 3 days ago. So it's a new one for me. I think everyone else is fairly familiar with it. And start us off, somebody.
Run it here, just doing this over and over.
What's
Jingling
this?
Keys. Jingling keys.
Oh.
Guys, pay attention. Pay attention to stream.
Pay attention to stream. How dare.
Well, I guess we start with the outline. So,
Yeah, by all means.
the chapter 1, we have the Major explaining the possible potential glories of communism. And I think we can all agree that communism is glorious.
Well, I mean,
Some of us.
I find it humorous where he gets it from. Where does he get it from? Anyone remember?
Literally came to me in a dream.
Yeah.
Came to me in a dream.
Like, I never fucking have done anything like this. I have no qualifications or experience, but I know.
I know. I saw it. It's beautiful.
Yep.
Literally Marx.
Was Major also like stealing money from his parents and stuff?
Well, I mean,
no, but he did live abnormally long for a pig, apparently. So you know.
Apparently, yeah.
Oh my god. I got stuck up on a tree. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I also find it very interesting and refreshing the way Orwell writes No, not just this character, but all characters. But it kind of starts out with this character, so it's real obvious in the get-go. He doesn't ever say something like, Major was stupid, right? He never tells you how to think of any of these characters. He just explains how they are, and you get to make up your mind, and it's refreshing. Major shows you he's stupid, but no one tells you. Go ahead, Simon.
I think, yeah, I mean, definitely with his ideas, he's out there, but he never purposely paints Major in a bad light.
Yeah.
Because I think, don't quote me, I might be wrong, but I think Orwell had kind of a good deal of respect for Marx. Not necessarily what his ideas led to, but
the man.
But the man
Yeah,
himself.
I mean,
Yeah.
Major, you could definitely say that Major was portrayed as just an idealist, not necessarily like an idealist without any like conception of where his ideas would drag everything.
Yeah, you could argue too that Marx, theoretically, not that I know his work all that well on a personal level, but he wasn't like, theoretically, he wasn't trying to bring about death and destruction and murder, right?
No, it's specifically the part that tends to fuck up, to my understanding, is that part of the natural progression is that yes, there is that interim step of the authoritarian government that holds everything together, but then that's naturally supposed to dissolve into some sort of pseudo anarchist group. To my understanding, I've never actually read his works properly. We've only discussed this briefly when I did this in grade 5 or fuck, that was 20 years ago, more at this point.
Didn't read this in school.
Ah, good. I'm not the
Ironically
only one.
enough, yeah, like in public school, we never read Animal Farm.
Yeah, we read Animal Farm, and then 2 years later we read 1984.
Great book.
Great book as well, yes. But in terms
Also,
of this
another book that I was never taught in school.
Interesting.
that's because they don't want you to know about it.
I think
We did more like basic like literature, more like a Victorian sort of literature than that.
I mean,
So
could be redneck, could be. You never know, and I know that's what you would like. Just to circle back to that last topic before we kind of move along. I think Karl Marx's biggest flaw is he doesn't consider the fact that you don't just stumble into power. You get power by going after it, and people who tend to go after power also tend to be people who don't want to let go of it.
Yeah, Marx is.
As a side note, that is actually something that comes up. Are we going to be doing this in order chapter-wise, or can we just...
Yeah,
sort of
we're
go
going
future?
through one chapter by another. So
That
we'll
is the
get there.
preference. Mind you,
Okay,
can
never
reference future stuff a little bit if you want.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
try
So
and
the thing I
yeah.
was just going to reference is like that is something that comes up where you've got, I think it was Snowball. I'm terrible at names. That'll be the first thing that comes up here. Remember characters? Can't remember the names. Anyways, I think it was Snowball was the one that was like actively like getting involved, trying to make things better, trying to be a leader, all that shit. And meanwhile, you have Napoleon in the background, like raising basically his NKVD.
Yeah.
Or his version of it. And then so Snowball gets run out and then blamed for everything. And that's essentially what he was talking about. That's what Orwell was referencing with that sort of stuff, is the people who will get power are not the ones who are the best leaders. They're not the ones who have the greatest interest of the people at heart. It's the most ruthless people, the ones that will kill everyone that gets in their way, and then kill everyone that might get in their way in the future and have no morals that will control the power.
For the safety of our new
and I mean-
empire.
Of course, our new empire. And I mean, obviously that's the, you know, the heart of the flaw with communism, and especially as Marx imagined it and as Major describes it here in chapter 1, is that it's extremely reliant on this idea of everyone pitching in and doing their fair share, and no one's lazy and no one is power hungry. Everyone
It's
wants
like
to
ideally
do-
it works, but ideally.
Yeah. So moving on to chapter 2.
I got a real quick question first, though,
Oh, okay.
before we move on. Does anybody recognize the song of Beasts of England? What it's supposed to be?
No, I don't.
I actually don't know.
Okay. Okay, I don't know either. It was just a genuine question, because like, at least in my experience, like it seems like reading through it seems like you could see one-to-one comparisons from figures, historical analogs, all of it throughout the course of the book. But this is like the one thing that I can't
Find a direct
place.
comparison or analogy to, yeah.
So that's why I was curious if anybody knew enough to
looking at it, of course, this is Wikipedia, so about as you know, falling in a hole. So apparently, it refers, it's corresponding to two major things. There's the Internationale, which is a communist anthem just in general, and specific allusions to Shelley. Is that Mary Shelley? No, Percy. I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce the name. Percy something Shelley had a song called Men of England.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to look at that. I'll pull that up.
Here, I'll pull the Wikipedia link
Zom will
directly
pull
so you
up
can...
the song and sing it to us so we know what we're talking about.
No, I don't think I will. But
yeah. What? Okay, this
the
is
Men
a
of England
French
song is very similar to the Beast of England.
That makes
yeah,
sense.
I'm skimming it right now. Yeah, it's very. It's saying the same thing.
If we were British,
Yeah.
we would have got it immediately. Got it.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
just being like, wow, life fucking sucks. Look at all this fucking work we put in, and we get none of the reward for it. We should like
Very
do
British.
something about that.
We'll get you a combat surgeon.
Where are the silly walks?
Plasma damage.
Or no.
Found some.
Okay, so moving on to the chapter 2.
Not your domain.
I got a live one over here.
Obviously, we do get Moses, we get the rebellion, and we get the 7 commandments.
Yeah.
And I think Hornet will agree that these are clearly the better commandments.
It's
Nothing in there says you're not supposed to pork your neighbor's wife, so clearly that means these are superior.
Yeah, exactly.
Is
Yes,
that,
pork,
that's okay
because
with you guys?
pigs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Those were good.
Zom, you should stop. You're not the comedian here, okay? You're the idiot. Stick with being the idiot, okay?
Oh my god. I'm pretty sure this is part of being the idiot. Thank you.
I suppose.
So yeah, Moses is definitely, obviously, the religious stand-in.
It was funny how long it took me to get that he was supposed to be the religious figure. I guess because I'm fairly religious myself, and I don't immediately see that, that whole, like, Candy Mountain, it's heaven, it's gonna be great, believe this without any evidence kind of thing. I don't get that immediately.
So for me, funnily
I got
enough,
it pretty
like
quickly.
the whole Candy Mountain thing, my first thought wasn't religious. It was just like that sort of like the lie you tell the kids. It's like the dog has gone into the farm.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a very, I think it's a cynical take on religion, right? It's meant to be portrayed as just the
very
lie
useless.
we're selling people in order to keep them working and happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say though that ends up being like the overall idea rather than being specifically religious, where it's like you promise the moon and the stars even if you don't actually intend to fulfill it.
Kind of like a
I think-
utopia, I guess.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think very much that.
Or just more like. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, there's a delay on my
Sorry.
end for a second there because Discord's screwing up. So I apologize.
We need to start doing like a hand sign round robin thing for
We're
this.
gonna learn how
I
to
can
take
make a lot of
turns.
hand signs, but I don't think Hornet's gonna like it on stream.
Hey, I can't
positive.
see them on stream, so by all means, go ahead. Just be fucking quiet about it.
Oh god. Okay, what were you saying, Ann?
Oh, I don't even remember what I was saying.
Okay, Cyborg, what were you saying?
Move on.
Not to allude too far into a different chapter with Moses, I definitely think he's just a stand-in for the Russian Orthodox Church.
Russian North. Okay.
That would make sense.
Flush him out.
Yes, especially because since they allow him to come back and preach.
That was the part that got me, because as far as I was aware, Christianity not allowed in Russia.
Yeah.
They tried.
The Russian Orthodoxy, it's not. It's there. The Russian government totally didn't have a say in what they said it did.
Okay, gotcha.
It came
Yeah,
back.
so-
They
The way I would put it is essentially like they tried officially. It was state atheism, but it was officially state atheism in the same way that everyone was fanatically devoted to Kim Jong Il in North Korea. That ain't it, Chief.
That's a different type of religion, fellas.
But it's the point being just that, like, yes, they would claim that there was no Christianity, that like all state atheism, all that shit. But no, the Russian Orthodox Church, and even I think once you got to like the 70s and 80s, it had enough of a resurgence because they needed it to try and help stabilize the government, if I remember correctly.
how the mighty have fallen.
Just to interject off topic. Thanks for stopping by, Dimitri. Good luck.
Question of my life.
Give Abby our best.
The question is when
Yeah,
the station
I mean,
is
I wish
back
Abby was here
online
instead of Dimitri, frankly, but you know.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so,
think I have a GIF for this one, or a weapon.
2 minutes.
God.
I mean, the Russian Orthodox Church even today is being used to kind of help
Oh yeah,
There seems to
but
be
they
some
don't do state
ties.
atheism
things about
nowadays.
Ukraine and whatnot too.
Yeah.
Huh.
So you're telling me there's some ties between the church and state?
Just a few.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Weird.
I've got the most useful advice for Dimitri there.
Oh,
Don't worry
God.
about it.
Hold on. Oh,
I recommend
I
you
can't
be-
play that on stream, Mike. The first split second of that, I realized what that was. I paused it, but
Yeah, that's great for stream. That's great.
no, stop it. Stop it. Okay. See what you almost made me do, Dimitri?
It's great advice. I don't know what's wrong.
I don't know if Abby would appreciate that.
So I guess the other thing to talk about here, I don't think the rebellion really warrants a lot of discussion. It's a rebellion. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it was a pretty straightforward
pretty much.
rebellion. They had a fight against the humans. They won. Humans bad.
Yeah,
The-
big whoop.
The only reason it's
kicked
interesting to me, sorry to keep interrupting you, Zon. The only reason it's interesting to me is just to note what actually happened and then compare it later on with what the narrative becomes.
Oh yeah, no. In reality, it was so fucking bloody.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those like this has been sanitized for kids moments.
Yeah. But the 7 commandments we should probably at least discuss because they are important here in the story. Let's see the...
I have them up if you want me to read them.
Oh yeah, go ahead. And...
That's to me. Yeah. Can you take a screenshot of it as well?
I don't. Maybe.
All right. I'll go take a screen. Oh, never mind. I'm here. I'll take the
Okay.
screenshot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
one,
You Steam
whatever-
Deck. Sorry.
Yeah, Steve Deck. So I was like, I'd have to go and find out how I can do that, but I can.
Here it
Never
is.
mind.
I'll put a picture.
I took a screenshot.
Someone's got it
So
already.
we're-
Yeah,
We're
okay,
toasted.
got it. Right. Yeah, so it's whatever goes upon 2 legs of an enemy.
To
Whatever
clarify,
goes upon
guys.
4...
Sorry, Zon. Oh, I'm a retard. You were actually reading it and I'm an idiot. Please continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. No animal shall wear clothes. No animal shall sleep in a bed. No animal shall drink alcohol. No animal shall kill any other animal. And all animals are equal. That's our list.
Very moral.
Yeah, and I mean obviously it's fun. Was it the obviously the whole shtick is supposed to be you're not supposed to be a dirty capitalist. You don't engage in capitalist thinking or tendencies or whatever. The dirty capitalists get those sugar cubes.
Capitalists are evil. It is known.
Yeah, exactly. They give you sugar cubes to work.
Corgi, I'm
Wait.
so glad you're willing to admit to us what you are. This is a judgment-free zone most of the time.
Most of the time.
The one thing I'd point out though as well, and I don't know if this was on purpose or not. No animal should kill any other animal. Kind of falls apart just to begin with, because several of the animals on that farm are obligate carnivores, pretty sure, or at least obligate omnivore.
Yeah, although I think it's part of the metaphor. You kind of have to like wink away.
Yeah, like I that's one of those things where it's like I don't think it was meant that way, but it does sort of end up as like from the very beginning, this was flawed because it unintentionally made it so that certain animals had to die to follow it.
As they deserve. Although there does
Yeah.
seem to be an interesting distinction between the farm animals and then the wild animals.
Sort of, but the thing is, they do try and recruit the wild animals
do,
as well,
yeah. They're like-
explicitly, several times.
Yeah.
And in fact, when the cat was chasing the mice around at the beginning of, that like it was said that you shouldn't do that, and it was brought up to vote that that's bad.
Don't
So
chase the mice. Yeah, which is fucking hilarious.
it's one of those things where it's like I don't think it was meant that way, but it does sort of lean even harder into it.
Yeah, and I mean, if anything, I think it's really just whether it's intentional or not. The fact that some of those rules, even like on their face, are a little hypocritical, are just leaning into the hypocritical nature of like what the rest of the story ends up being.
Yeah, you're not supposed to run.
You
cat
could
over
even
the
make
way.
an argument that like Orwell is trying to essentially make the argument that communism by its very fundamental nature is just untenable because of that. Like, you could at least make the argument. I don't know if he is necessarily making, like, Orwell is making that statement, but, like, just because of the fact that, like, cats have to eat meat in order to survive, like, you can't have a vegan cat. Like, you
But it's
can make the
immoral.
argument, yeah, it's so immoral, but, like, so having a law in there that no animal shall kill any other animal kind of like makes the whole like practical application fundamentally break down, because it just doesn't like match to the reality of the real world.
It requires that particular animal to, this is YouTube, I gotta be careful, but to end themselves through starvation, right?
Basically, yeah.
Mhm.
And I wonder if there is an analogy there, and if the analogy was intended by George Orwell, of like, there are people who strive to do good and strive to build and to make things for themselves, and the system can essentially kill them by not allowing them to earn things for themselves, right?
I don't think
It
so.
kind of feels like kind of like a frog and scorpion similar statement.
But this will kill us
the
both.
whole-
LOL.
Yeah,
Lamau.
type-
Lamau.
yeah.
Well, Lamau says the scorpion. But I get what you mean. The only reason I don't think it was truly intended is because throughout, like, this does seem like it's very much a allegorism for dummies kind of book, not in the sense of like being derogatory, but in the sense of the things that they're going for are really more in your face. So I think if it was meant to be brought up that way, they would have talked about at some point how the cat or the dogs are becoming sicker and are becoming weakened because they don't have any meat.
Well, my only
Or
thought
they would
was
have,
just
or they
more
would have run
that-
away. Like there would have been
Yeah,
a remark.
no. I get what you're saying. I think the only thing that makes me go, well, maybe it might be, is because of the fact that, like, the cat kind of seems like, at least when the cat is mentioned, doesn't really buy into it, right? And just kind of does its own thing and just chases mice and is just like, yeah, whatever.
Cat ain't no dummy.
And yeah, like, and so to me, it just kind of seems like a weird sort of, you, like I said, you could make this argument that the cat is supposed to be like the people who never really buy into the system to begin with, or never like they're just are who they are, and so they're not gonna be able to follow the rules that require the entire system to function. Like, everybody has to be on board in order to make it happen, and if you already have people who are just fundamentally not on board just because of who they are, the system can't work.
Or at least if you have too many of them like that, yeah.
Yeah.
The system might
Yeah,
support a few.
that's
but-
why I wonder if it is.
It could be, but I think that would be more meant as, like, as you pointed out, like someone that doesn't. I see you're having fun, fighting the AI.
It's fine.
Like, if the system can't support people who just use it to abuse the system, rather than the system is inherently unable to handle the needs of certain members.
What was it, Cyborg?
I do wonder, granted, I don't know the most about it, if after the October Revolution in real life, not the book,
Oh, okay.
after Tsar Nicholas was ousted, because essentially he's a stand-in, or Mr. Jones is a stand-in for Tsar Nicholas.
Oh yeah, and it's
If-
again, it's hugely sanitized. But
Yeah.
Ew.
If after the revolution, if there were any rules, or as in this book, commandments put forth to have people not be able to portray or live life like the czars did or the bourgeoisie did, because like rules 3, 4, and 5 are all very human specific, so I didn't know if those would be pertained to like the ruling class.
That I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if that was. Sorry, you were gonna say something?
I seem to recall that there was a number of I guess reforms put in place that, you know, it was kind of like ousting religion. Right? It was like, you know, you're not supposed to. We're communists here. We're not going to engage in, you know, capitalist nonsense type of stuff. I'm trying to think if it was like explicitly codified or if it was more just a unspoken kind of setup, and I can't remember.
Yeah, I always got the impression that like the word bourgeoisie was a dirty word, right? So
It
like,
is, but
if
I
you...
think that's the thing is I think the reason bourgeoisie ends up being a dirty word ends up actually being nobility classism, because bourgeoisie is basically the new rich. As like if I remember correctly. Hang on, I might be confusing that with the new with something else. Let me go look that up. 1 second.
That's totally like, I'm not knowledgeable enough to really be able to say, but I always got the impression that like bourgeoisie was a really dirty word. So even being compared to the bourgeoisie was like a
Yeah, so
big
they were the
offense.
middle class. So has roped you into paradox autism yet?
I mean, a little spicy, tiny flavoring of it.
Basically essentially think of them as the burgers.
Oh, okay.
So people that they have wealth more than the average peasant. They can start to, and as you go along, they can start to get so wealthy they even start to eclipse some of the nobility, but they don't have the heritage that you would expect to come with that. So the actual nobility looks down on, considers them less, despite in some cases them being more in terms of their means.
Yeah. So like merchant versus aristocrat.
It's so intriguing how the actual powerful people are able to turn the masses against their only competition.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you could argue the nobility at least had the sense of noblesse oblige, whereas the bourgeoisie did not have any of that.
Yeah.
So it's like on the one hand, it's like the nobility, despite being arguably more exploitative overall, at least had the ideas like you take care of your people, all of that like in theory nobility, which doesn't necessarily actually translate to having happened, but in theory it was looked down upon to like completely just abuse them, whereas the bourgeoisie had no such. It was like, we're here to make money, we are merchants. You've got, of course, like the like what happened in the Renaissance, where you would get wealthy patrons and shit like that, of course, but we're getting into stuff that I don't actually know very well, and I only know based on rumors, so I can't be as certain.
So, regardless though of the like how one-to-one the commandants are, I think the important thing to get from them is what the animals are having to give up for this, right? They're giving up all of the niceties. They don't get to sleep in beds. They don't get their dirty capitalist sugar cubes.
Yeah.
They have to give up all of the fun, good stuff because it's capitalist in nature.
And evil.
So we can't have that.
Don't forget the
ribbons.
ribbons.
And the
The
ribbons.
ribbons are important.
Yep, no ribbons. Not a ribbon. Not a one.
No ribbons.
Because, clothes.
I would say poor Millie, but she was smart. Was that her name, Millie?
We'll get
Right?
there. Molly.
Molly. Okay. Anyhow, go ahead.
Yeah.
Molly. Yeah.
Yeah, so
up?
as far as the commandments, so they're important I think primarily in that they're illustrating to us where they help to lead into what we're giving up for trying to pursue this dream.
Oh God.
So, moving on then to chapter 3. So we get Snowball and Napoleon finally, doing what they do, leading the animals, being strong leaders and whatnot. The pigs start to, set themselves apart from the other animals as the brain children of the revolution, because they have to think real hard. So they have to not toil in the fields like everyone else, because they know what's best.
It's strange to me how when we're talking about animals here, the whole we're the smarter group, so we'll do this job, feels for some weird reason more palatable. And then I try and compare that. Go ahead.
It essentially the reason why is because it doesn't have the same sort of cultural baggage that race does in people.
It's interesting how that works, though, and it's like, okay, I guess I can kind of excuse it. And then when you think that's actually how it kind of worked in real life with human beings to human beings, it starts to feel really disgusting.
Yeah, there's that, and then you get the extra spicy fun that comes along with all the baggage that eugenics has, which is mixed in. And it's like you've got like a you've got a spicy combination of racism, classism, eugenics, case systems, and it's just, oh, there's baggage. Oh fuck.
Well, these kinds of people have the correct blood.
Yeah, and also just like it really because all of us are North American, I'm fairly certain. It'll really come across with us because of how much more governments in North America and society in North America is founded on the rejection of those sorts of inherent divisions.
Yep.
Whereas in Europe, my understanding, based on what I've seen listening to people, it doesn't have the same sort of rejection. There's a lot more acceptance of authoritarianism and those sorts of divides. Keep in mind, that's still a relative statement, and that's made from a position of ignorance, not actual personal experience. Besides with individual people, not
all the Europeans want to be ruled. Got it.
Yes,
clearly.
They'll get what they fucking deserve.
All right.
Dirty peasants. Anyway, Snowball makes the four legs good, two legs bad thing. And I know that I'm seeing in your notes here, Hornet, that you said beginning of the demonization of others. I would say that that's not really... Yeah, it's demonization, but I think the more important point is that it is a gross oversimplification. Like an intentionally gross oversimplification of the situation. And it's relying on the fact that these animals are too ignorant, whether because they lack education or they're just too stupid to understand that there is supposed to be some nuance here, which is what allows us to manipulate four legs good, two legs bad down the line.
It's interesting to me because that parallel doesn't work so well in this analogy, or the parallel I was trying to make, because it's not all humans, right?
Yeah.
But when you compare that to the reality of what was going on in Soviet Russia, that was, in my opinion, the beginning of I guess the start of the excuses as to why we hate these people, because they're different from us. And if we can explain why them being different is evil, we can dehumanize, etc.
That I think the roots of that are way back at the beginning of the revolution, and even in the book is what like that would be the part of where it's like they start talking about like engaging in human things and stuff like that. Because the thing I would point to there as an example is the kulaks, and I believe it was Ukraine, but that might have just been like an overall thing where certain people, certain farmers were just more productive. They did more, they worked harder, they got more as a result, and so you had the natural accumulation of funds, resources, whatever, that comes with some people just, they work harder so they get more. And so what the Soviets did at that point was they demonized them. They said, the kulaks are the enemy, they're the ones that are hoarding resources, we need to dissolve them. And every time a group would start to rise above in terms of being equal as farmers, they would get liquidated, put it plain.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't remember how many times that happened. I want to say 3, but that's me pulling a number out. Citation needed.
I'm just enjoying the loose history lesson for the context of this book. Like, I'm not good enough on Russian history to understand like half of this, so I'm just enjoying it.
We'll get you yet. Just another few vaccines, a bit more Advil or Tylenol. We'll get you there.
Yeah. And it'll be bad whenever we start talking about the Roman Empire.
Oh God.
We
got meditations lined up, right?
Yeah, we do. It's on the list. We'll get there.
Anyways, we were talking about specifically. Oh, right. So the other thing that's worth noting about that slogan, as it was essentially dumbed down into, is that in allowing it to be created as such a short refrain, it's something that could then be used to distract. And that was something that Napoleon did with the sheep, where he taught them to just repeat it, because nobody that's there can actually go against that saying. You can't criticize it because it's from the foundational tenets of the government. So if you criticize it, you're an enemy of the state. So then all of a sudden anything that would try and shut that down, you can frame it as criticism, use that to shut down anything that's against your argument, and it just sort of goes in circles, which ends up coming up. Is that how many chapters into the future is that? 2?
I think
Anyways,
this is the first point where it comes up. If that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the shutting down later. Yeah, it's later.
Yeah,
what I
the
find very
shutting down.
interesting is that that whole having your group of useful idiots refuse to engage in actual intellectual conversation and just repeat what you've told them to repeat is actually something that is used often in real life. Like,
Oh boy, yeah, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. There's nothing like that going on in real life at the moment at all.
I
No,
think
not
Damu's
not
right.
for the last 20 fucking
No.
years.
I know, and so I find it very, very sure what it bodes well for the
Poignant?
longevity of this book. That George Orwell managed to hit that so well on the head on how certain groups of people are inclined to do things like use their useful idiots to just tell them to chant slogans so you can stop them from actually intellectually engaging with what they're doing or what they're advocating for and the implications that are within.
Well, I think what's even more interesting is especially when you take into consideration, like, if you read, this is all contingent on how you read the allegory, but if you take the slowness of the animals to indicate, like, access to resources and access to education in general, like, it makes it even more, like, damning later in the book that this slogan is just boiled down to these two, this one slogan, because then they don't even have the ability to fight back because they can't read. It's not even that they don't have the choice to, like, learn to read. It's that they don't have the resources to be able to read the text, to criticize the slogan, to etc, etc, etc. So it ends up becoming like a... Go ahead.
There is something actually that's on that note, and I know this because my old man he worked on an engineering project, but he worked on it with someone from the USSR, and he would tell me like a few stories like what this guy said, and one of the things that's worth noting, this was like later USSR, but I'm pretty sure it's just like it's something that just happens in authoritarian governments, is if you're not part of the intelligentsia, you do not give a singular fuck about what the government is doing, because people who care about what the government is doing disappear.
Yep.
So, like, it's not a case of like, so in terms of what could be the cause of it, could just be natural stupidity, because fortunately not everyone is made equal. Could be insufficient access to education, because boy howdy, that was never an issue in Russia. No. Could
It's
be
not an
insufficient
issue
access to
today at
resources.
all.
Yeah, not an issue in general.
Russians are very smart.
But so, like, but you put all that together, it's the way you survived, probably since Tsarist times, but especially by like the midpoint of the USSR, is you didn't think about what the government was doing, you didn't talk about what the government was doing, you didn't care about what the government was doing, because if you did, you might say something, and if you said something and it's not the right thing, and someone heard, oh no, that's not a good sign. To give you an idea of how bad it was, this was a story that my father's friend told him. There was a man in the USSR, and he was at the birthday party for his daughter, and he was saying, and so he was basically like, and give a toast for my daughter, and someone said, well, what about Comrade Stalin, because you toasted Comrade Stalin first. And he said, every day we toast Comrade Stalin first. On this, the day of my daughter's birthday, let us toast my daughter first. And then they toasted his daughter, and then they toasted Comrade Stalin to their health. He disappeared the next day. Nobody saw him again.
That's crazy.
That's how bad it was.
Look, if you don't support
Yeah.
Comrade Stalin, you are an enemy of the people.
Literally. And they said that it felt like about 1 in 4 people was an agent of the state. And I believe when the wall fell and like some of the documents were found, the answer was about 28 people were working for the state as informants of one kind or another.
So, The last thing of note in this chapter is that the pigs have discovered that they really need milk and apples in order to think properly, and I don't think we can blame them for that. I mean, we all
clearly.
need milk and apples to think properly. There's
For their
no
health.
malicious intent.
their
Yeah,
health, for the
behind this,
people.
yeah, for the good of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's worth noting there is that's the first like obvious sign of them manipulating and enriching themselves at the expense of others.
And
Yeah.
I do like the beginning of the byline that you hear repeated over and over again. Well, you don't want Jones to come back.
Yeah.
Like, that's so good because you see it fucking everywhere.
Yeah, so
I know.
that I believe is specifically called what about is
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that goes hand in hand with the sheep shouting people down later in order to avoid actually confronting, unfortunate truths and
Yeah.
all that good shit.
Bravo to Noble 2. Stand by for contact report.
Standing by to copy, over.
We have eyes on most
It's
Cyborg,
tough,
do you have
Paul. We
any-
can barely manage it.
Oh no,
Negative, too small.
Cyborg, do you have any input here?
No, you guys covered the points I had for it and knocked it out of the park, so I didn't
Wow,
have to really
Cyborg.
add anything to that.
Not helpful,
Oh, all right.
buddy.
Quiet.
Just
Cyborg,
laying
quiet
back with a
Cyborg.
cold beer.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like,
Pretty
you
much.
guys got this.
You guys got it.
I thought good Christians weren't
Yeah.
supposed to drink. It's kind of fucked up.
Well, I mean, we do know Cyborg
Hey.
has a drinking problem, though.
The
That's
pint,
true.
the pipe, and the cross can all fit together.
Oh, okay, all right.
Just seeing
So-
the background here, I have approximate knowledge of many
That's a good one. I
things.
hadn't heard that one before.
So, moving on to chapter 4, which is mainly the conclusion of the revolution, where all of the other capitalist nations look at this and say, "Oh, this is a problem.
Mhm.
This is not
Oh
good.
no. Yeah.
Oh no, liquid." And then we get the battle of the cowshed, where Napoleon hid in wherever the fuck he was. I can't remember where he is. If he's described where he runs off to. Or...
Does it actually describe?
Says where he is.
No, I don't-
Yeah, he's
don't
just
think
not
that's
there.
Yeah, they just don't mention him at all, which is intriguing.
Yeah, he's just not around for that. But Snowball, like, does it. He fucking takes some fucking buckshot to the back and almost dies. And
Snowball's a real one. Like, I don't like his policies, obviously, but he's a real one. He believes.
yeah,
As a
He-
side
he
note, Snowball is, I believe, I
Trotsky.
can't remember. Yeah, Trotsky. I was gonna say Lenin because I was having a stroke, but yes, it's Trotsky.
yeah, Trotsky.
And
Lenin and Marx are kind of mixed
Yeah, they're put
together
together,
in Major.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it seemed like they were both in major.
Yeah.
What was
The
it, Cyborg?
the comparison for Trotsky is even more with the Battle of Cowshed, because even though in the book the revolution already happened, in the actual October Revolution, Trotsky was the major military leader, where Stalin never actually took place in any of the actual hands-on part of the revolution. He was a political figure, but he was never actually there. Whereas Trotsky was the one that actually led military fighting and created the Red Army. But
Get fucked, Stalin.
I don't think it's Stalin who gets fucked in the end, but yeah.
He
No.
does, he's the one who does the fucking till the very
unfortunately,
last.
there's a pickaxe that comes into play in Mexico eventually.
Well, it's an ice pick,
yes.
not a pickaxe.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
transorbital
sorry, ice
fucking.
pick. Yeah.
Transorbital fucking. That's always a great one.
So yeah, I don't know if there's a lot personally that I have to talk about on this, right? It's just a straight history lesson of the, people came in to try to stop the revolution for various reasons, right? Whether it be, people being like, oh God, if this revolution spreads, then they're gonna depose me and then I'm gonna end up like
Or Snowball. Or, well,
Yeah,
Snowball
not like-
hadn't gone yet, had he? No,
no, I'm gonna end up like Jones.
Farmer, what's
yeah,
his name?
Jones. Yeah,
Jones.
yeah.
Yeah.
Farmer Dickhead.
I guess the only
Um,
takeaway for me is that if you're gonna try and stop them like that, you got to go all in.
Yeah, it's when you're looking at the real life counterpart, I can understand why they didn't, considering they had literally just come out of the most destructive war that we'd yet had.
Yeah, there was a lot of
history.
fatigue at that time.
Yeah, no one really wanted to go to war again. And Eastern Europe as a whole was kind of a clusterfuck.
A completely different
Yes,
to today.
senses that are truly timeless.
Yeah.
And then it gets worse.
Quick, someone start something in the Balkans again.
The whether or not this might have shaped Orwell's writings with this book, Yeah, fun fact: he did serve under a Trotskyist battalion in Spain when he fought in the Spanish Civil War.
That's
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
he fought under them. They got ousted as being Trotskyist by other communist forces. But he seemed to enjoy their company and had a good time with them. Not saying that he exactly liked fighting under the communists, but he liked them better than the other option
Yeah.
at the time.
I will say
like-
also as a side note, of course, this will come up later when we get through the chapters here. But I find it very interesting that Orwell's analysis here, since it's a direct discussion on the Soviet Union, not just communism like generally, but like the Soviet Union in specific, is kind of incomplete. Because when he wrote this book, the Soviet Union was only halfway through its lifespan.
Yeah.
That would have been around the height of its power then.
Yeah, 1950s is when he wrote this.
So not quite
I
not
thought
quite
it
the
was the
true height,
40s.
but pretty high up there.
It's late 40s or early 50s. He wrote this just before he did 1984.
I believe that he wrote this in the 40s. I think it was published in 45.
Hold on.
Yeah, it was published August 17th, 1945. So,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
this would have been when the USSR was actually like was looking arguably the third best that it ever did.
Yeah. Like it looked
Well, and,
not
like,
bad.
I don't think that there's any other. It was just Russia at this time. I don't think that there was any other communist state. So it can't be really a criticism of communism as a whole necessarily, because of the fact that there was no other example to look at to draw the comparisons.
Yeah, because the only other notable communist state in 1945 was communist China, but that wasn't really a state. That was a rebellious movement within China, and that's
Which is a clusterfuck on par with the Balkans.
yeah, exactly. But the nationalists, by and large, still controlled the country at this point. So there wasn't any other country to point to that had a quote unquote successful revolution. So
That being said, I do think it's just a general it did end up becoming a general indictment on communism, specifically because the flaws that led to the issues with the USSR just were
as it
so
turns out, they were
inbuilt.
pretty universal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very poignant
Yeah,
in
it's
every respect of the word. I just think that it's worth noting that, like, a lot of people criticize Animal Farm, where it's like, well, it's just on, like, communist Russia, so, like, you can't really use it to apply to communism. And it's like, well, yeah, but there was no other communist state that you could point to, so you can't really say that it wasn't about communism as a whole, because it's like, well, what else could he have criticized? It was literally just communist Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
They were the front runners to all this misery. Boss,
that is a
down.
woman, Bob.
Settle down.
Actually, it's an FBI agent. That just
It is a
voice
fad.
changer. Yeah.
It's humorous.
Well,
Bob,
yeah.
that it took
Well,
you
no,
that
hang on
long.
a second. Hang on a second. No, it's the kids that are FBI.
What?
It's the old rules of the internet. The men are men, the women are men, and the kids are FBI.
Oh, the women are men. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why Anna's
Old
one of the
school.
boys.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Clearly.
I got a story for later. Hold on.
No.
we'll talk about it later. Don't worry.
Yeah, later.
So,
Oh boy.
but yeah, no, I mean it's very interesting that you look at, like, I mean, in a way, this isn't even. I don't feel like this book is even a criticism per se of the Soviet Union. It's just an allegory for what the Soviet Union actually did.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not commenting on what it did. It's letting you make that decision. It's just very clear what it did was steaming dog shits.
It's just such a clear indictment because it's unflinching account of everything that happened. It just happened to be terrible.
Yeah, that too. The fun bit actually is the way that goes with the pigs and all that stuff towards the end. Arguably, it's a lot more of an indictment of communist China and the CCP than it is of the USSR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because like in terms of the authoritarian measures and all that stuff, like yeah, that was the USSR as well. But for all the USSR did, it wasn't very capitalist. Whereas
No, and
you look at communist China right now, communist China, quote unquote, it's basically capitalism with a slightly different coat of paint.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Chairman Mao. Can't forget about him.
I mean, and again, I think that also kind of goes back to the whole, this is an incomplete analysis because the Soviet Union hadn't collapsed yet and was still 40-ish years off of its collapse. Eventually, the Soviet Union does start to open up and become more capitalist in an attempt to save itself under Gorbachev, I want to say?
Yeah, but if it's under Gorbachev, that was like right at the end.
Well, yeah, but that was like, it was too little too late at that point. But I suppose the ultimate irony there is that in spite of the fact that this is an incomplete look at the Soviet Union, he still fucking called the outcome.
Twice, essentially.
Yeah.
It's almost like he knew
so-
that capitalism was the only system so far that actually kind of works.
Well, weird. I wouldn't put it that far.
But that might be a
but-
bit excessive, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like then you look into stuff like neo-feudalism and how that's mimicking the ways of old, and that's a whole other thing. But that's like six political science degrees down the.
Yeah.
The bit that I want to point out though is like, this is where the physics side of it comes in. The truth of a theory is in its predictive power. He wrote this before the USSR collapsed, before communist China was a twinkle in Chairman Mao's eye, basically, and he got it right twice.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's almost like the fundamental principles of communism can't actually be practically applied in a realistic sense.
And more
Like-
importantly, the really important bit is that not only did he get that, he got how it would fuck up and explode correct.
Yeah.
That's the bit that I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
So moving on to chapter 5, Molly finally decides she's had enough of being poor and dirty, and decides to go be not poor and not dirty. And I mean, and by that I mean go get some sugar cubes.
Well, yeah, as you should.
Understandable, really.
Yeah.
Which is very funny because essentially it's a stand-in for the like constant problem of brain drain that only got worse the longer the Soviet Union went on.
The bit of
We're
it
all-
that I find that's interesting though is did they go into detail about the farms, that like the other farm that she was looking at?
I can't. It was
It was
I can't remember the name.
Plankton's farm.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't really go into detail about the other farms. It's more that she runs off and then the pigs are like never speak of this ever again.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. No, the reason I asked was just because I was curious, like, if that was one of those cases where, like, the truths, like, details got lost along the way for the simplicity of the allegory. Because it's like, if they were escaping, they weren't exactly escaping directly back into the initial conditions that caused the revolution to begin with, because they weren't escaping into other monarchist countries. They were escaping more capitalist systems, which you can argue that, if I remember correctly, around the time of the October Revolution, it was a lot closer to like a traditional serf-based, feudalistic type of civilization or government that they that's certainly a projection location that the country was in at the moment. So it's not, so that's one where it's like it doesn't really work one-to-one with historical realities, if
Yeah.
I'm getting it right.
Bod is
Yeah,
on
but-
point, though. Sorry to interrupt. It was Coke, jeans, and rock music that brought down the Soviet Union.
That's true. That's true.
The,
It
the,
was-
the
it was
moral
the
decay
genes.
brought about by
Really?
those.
I
Yeah.
think that most of the people who left, like during the white emigre, or like with Molly leaving, I think they mostly went to France and England.
So basically, a constitutional monarchy with an elected government. So about as close you're going to get to a feudalistic country without actually getting there. And they were a republic at that point, right? The French.
Yeah.
So basically, it's not 100%,
AV
but
public.
that's one where like they'd have to get into like the differences and run
Yeah,
stuff
and
like that.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear anyway. The more important thing here is not necessarily where Molly goes, but the fact that
Yeah.
she's chasing the luxuries that she no longer has access to under the new system.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would agree with that.
They say that fire
Molly
Um,
is an airhead, but we love her.
We do,
She's an airhead, but she's
Um,
much smarter than all the others.
apparently.
And more
She got
importantly,
another
in this aspect,
Like,
she was an airhead that's willing to work, if I remember correctly. So there's that.
Yeah, she was willing to work as long as she got her sugar cubes and her ribbons, and she didn't get her sugar cubes and she didn't get her ribbons. So, here we are.
Yeah.
We also get the first winter, which is where Napoleon and Snowball starts to, kind of get prickly with one another.
Yeah. Although I think that they were prickly.
They were always
For
kind
that.
of prickly, but it becomes obvious at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's undeniable that they don't like one another. And then we talk about we go through what happens with the windmill. With
God.
Snowball having these big complicated plans and whatnot, and then Napoleon uses his well-educated young dogs to get rid of that problem.
Yeah.
Wait, doesn't he piss all over the work too?
At one point he does.
The rumor is,
Yeah,
yes.
he like goes in and he just like takes a piss all over it. I was like, oh, okay.
And then he promptly steals it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the first really big example of historical revisionism that he does.
Yeah, I think that is definitely the first instance in the book where seeing Napoleon go in and start lying to the other animals, and most of the animals, unfortunately, are too stupid or don't have access to the information needed to disprove that.
Here I am trying to fucking read Bob's comment. It's a big old book, and I'm trying to not die.
I thought the sheep were the stand-in for the proletariat.
I'd say the sheep are standing specifically for the useful idiots, right? The people who are so wrapped up in the propaganda that they're happy to just spout the party line and never think for themselves. Most of the other animals are varying levels of, they're not quite sheep, right? They can think a little bit, but they either don't have the time or the ability or the resources to be able to really dissect what they're being told, and they have to be kind of led along every now and again by someone else.
Yeah, in this case, the someone else being that one pig. I can't remember the name of it.
Squealer?
That did the writing.
Squealer, yeah.
Yeah, Squealer. Or like, and yes, it's a singular stand-in for the propaganda, whatever.
But it's, oh god, Squealer is the fucking villain of the story, I swear. I know Napoleon's a piece of shit, but he couldn't have done half of what he did without Squealer.
Well,
Really
I
was
know that,
effective.
like,
Very effective.
there was like a whole debate of like, well, is Squealer Lenin, or is he like the ghost of Lenin? To be like, well, this is what Lenin wanted, and you gotta believe in the spirit of Lenin, yada yada yada, and like it ends up just like kind of being more of like the propaganda apparatus. But it's just like, I remember just like sitting there being like, is he Lenin? Is he supposed to be Lenin? It sounds like he's described as Lenin.
I mean, maybe,
No.
but I think he's more just the fucking, he's a singular stand-in for the propaganda arm of the Soviet government.
Yeah, that's the way I took it. It could be that you're right. It's just I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's just like the physical attributes and the way that they utilized him in the story made me go,
I mean, he could be more than
but
one thing, too, absolutely.
That is true.
it could also be a combo of things in the sense of like, you know, the way that Major was both Marx and Lenin, so he could be kind of split in that way.
Yeah. I think this also goes back to a little bit to Cyborg's comment about the fact that George Orwell seemed to be more partial to Trotsky and his views than to Stalin. In the fact that Trotsky's stand-in here in Snowball is portrayed as legitimately wanting what's best for the animals, and
Yeah.
I think that may be a bit of a sell if you actually were to like read into what he
Generous
did.
interpretation.
Yeah, like at minimum, I think it's more that he wasn't around long enough to really fuck things up like Stalin did, because Stalin won the back and forth between the two of them.
So I don't do a good job of holding myself back when I die. Yes.
Take your word for it. I legitimately don't know about that bit of Russian history.
That is my problem. Yeah, Stalin's the big one for me. I never got into the rest of them that much. I have an immediate distrust of anyone who's proposing or pushing forward communism, because it's like all human beings tend to be fairly self-interested. And what are you getting out of it if you're pushing for communism? Because communism doesn't ever enrich any individual if it's done right. So what are you getting out of it for preaching it so hard?
Yeah. Historically speaking, the big difference was between the two of them was that Trotsky was for worldwide revolution, like pushing revolution more widely, while Stalin was more interested in internal affairs.
Socialism in one country.
Yeah. And that was the big historical disagreement between the two of them, but that's not really portrayed here.
I guess it kind
It's
of
talked about it a little bit.
It
yeah.
kind of is, because when Snowball was around, they started doing the spreading out, sending out birds and shit, right? When he was gone, that quit.
Yeah, that's true. There's a little bit of that in there.
Yeah, it's not like expressed.
Trotsky also wanted rapid industrialization too, but Stalin really didn't care. I mean, he wanted it, but it wasn't
that fits,
a big thing for him, which fits Snowball trying so hard for the windmill.
Sorry, damn, you say that again?
So the Holodomor was the light version?
Yeah.
Jesus. Fuck.
That's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's in the name of industrialization. It's important.
How many of you... I now actually need to ask. How many of you recognize the name the Holodomor offhand?
No idea.
Okay.
I knew.
Sorry.
So the Holodomor was a period of... I can't remember how many years. Do you remember offhand how many years?
Oh, I don't fucking remember. Like...
At least 1 year, but I think it was multiple years.
Yeah.
Where essentially the Ukrainian people and that whole area was starved out because they were the breadbasket of the Soviet Union.
Yes,
And
I know
all
that.
the resources went to industrializing. They went to the cities, they went to industrialize. And they succeeded. Like, credit where credit's due, they succeeded. They also killed, what was it, like 27 million people?
Just a few
That's
lives to bring about the utopia, right?
Well, you know, omelets, eggs, you get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially it was
feel
like that,
like that
and that was where the
makes the-
kulaks thing came in a lot as well.
Yeah, I feel like that makes the whole windmill situation just like hit like a stone when you.
Oh yeah, no, that's what it was.
understand that. Yeah. Again, I don't know enough about Russian history to be able to.
Sorry, I was slightly exaggerating. The death toll was only quote unquote 3.5 to 5 million in Ukraine over the course of a year.
Well, for the utopia, that's pretty reasonable.
Oh, whew, thank God. Taking an aside here to look at what Baw's talking about. Baw is talking about the fact that the industrialization was supported by various American corporations, which it was, right? But very much in the corporation kind of view. It's not that the corporations were looking to starve the Ukrainians. Like, it's that the corporations were doing what corporations do and
Make
were
money.
looking to make money.
Yeah.
And they were offered that money by helping by bringing industrial expertise to the Soviet Union.
It's a legitimate
Well, the
thing.
book kind of touched on that.
And there is,
later.
as a side note, there is a legitimate question of even in that case, did they even know that the Holodomor was going on? Because that's not the sort of shit that would get publicized.
Yeah, I mean, who fucking knows? But yeah, like we do get a little bit later here, shortly with starting to bring in outside stuff with the outside trade, which I think is in the next chapter.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
You'll see it in my deal where I say, make contact with the humans the first time or whatever.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Yeah. But yeah, so regardless, Trotsky gets ousted and he's used as a scapegoat, which is pretty much what happened historically. Trotsky was used as a scapegoat for anything and everything that goes wrong.
Well, yeah, he was the enemy of the people.
Yeah,
It's-
pretty much.
Yeah, it's Trotsky and his evil ideas.
And the whole idea of like anything that goes wrong is sabotage.
Yeah. It's those dirty capitalists trying to stop our glorious revolution. So yeah, I think it's the next chapter where Napoleon turns around and is like, yeah, it's time to use we actually want to build the windmill.
It was actually, I think I put in my notes. It's same chapter. It's
Yeah,
3 weeks
that's it.
later. It's 3 weeks later.
That's 3 weeks later. All right.
Yeah, in the book. And yeah,
I knew there
The
was that.
windmill was in fact Napoleon's own creation. End
Yeah.
of chapter
Yeah.
5.
Okay.
And
Which
he
is
was
just some
supported. He was just
magnificent
pretending
gaslighting.
in order to get
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you love that. You fucking.
I love being gaslit.
Yeah, you were like, oh my god, this book is for me.
Yeah, I
I
got
would
a
love to
little
live in
hot
this society.
reading about that. Yeah.
Yeah, oh god, yeah, gaslighting.
Alright, so.
And watch out, you got competition.
She's always
Wow.
had competition, clearly. Dom's like, someone I can
Something,
gaslight and they'll
something.
enjoy it?
Oh my god. So dragging us along now to chapter 6.
Oh, that's
Animals-
what your position is.
Oh no.
You like dragging,
and-
I see.
I mean, you know, we don't kink shame here, all right? Hey. Train thought. Oh, animals are having to deal with the farm problems, and we're getting the windmill built, and it's going swimmingly, and it's awesome. And the pigs are like, "Hey, we need some stuff we can't make here, so we're gonna start talking with the humans."
Yes, so we have the first time they kind of changed from the original I guess ethos of two-leg bad, right? Human bad, they're not us, they're bad. It's like, well, they're still bad, but it's okay for the leaders to talk to them. Kind of thing kind
and
of creeps in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's in the name of this glorious industrialization.
Yeah. I do find it humorous
I-
how they're all bad, but we do need some things from them. But they're still bad.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes to the really common argument that you see a lot of. Well, the only reason such and such regime is not successful is because the Americans won't trade with them. And
Yeah.
it's like weird that you need the capitalists to trade with you to make your system work. Strange.
Transmitting visual.
Yeah, but also
Guys, just let me copy your homework. Jesus.
my system's the best, but if you just let me copy your homework, it'd be fine.
If we're gonna
The one thing I will give that is that because of the fact that modern economics is so heavily dependent on resources, which in some cases are basically geolocked, it can be a bit fucky.
It can
So-
be, yeah.
That's the one where it's like, okay, well, if you're talking about like finished goods, yeah, that's stupid. If you're talking about like just base resources that a country physically does not have, it's sort of like the alternative I'd put there is like saying like, oh, like capitalism doesn't work because nobody's willing to trade oil with them and they can't get it, so the economy collapses. It's like, well,
Oh, sure.
it's like yes, but
Well,
so
hold on though.
Go ahead.
Hold just one moment here.
Well-
By the nature of capitalism, though, like one of the stark the marks of a glorious communist or socialist system is shortages, right? And that's something that, regardless of the resource realities in a capitalist system, you don't get shortages. It just doesn't happen. If it's a actual capitalist system with a free market, and
I
it
get what
doesn't
you
matter.
mean. Like I'm getting what you mean there, but what I'm referring to is the idea of like, for example, like there, because the thing I'm trying to think of is I don't know offhand how a lot of the, like a lot of what resources are locked where. Like oil is the one that's obvious, but that's sort of like, yeah, no shit. And it can be substituted in some ways with coal liquefaction and stuff like that. Which is not as limited. I don't think there's basically anywhere on Earth that doesn't have access to coal in some manner or the other. So I get that I'm sort of like doing like a hypothetical here that doesn't really work. But I don't know if there's something where it's like you only have access to these sorts of resources, and it's critical, and you don't have a substitute.
Yeah,
Let's push on the chapters a bit because time is going.
Oh,
Oh,
fair,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Sorry. I'm having too much fun.
Yeah, how dare you.
Where the fuck were we?
Trade.
blah, blah.
Just starting to get
Just
trade.
starting to trade. Yeah.
So we get to do some gaslighting about the no trade and no living in the farmhouse stuff.
Yay.
Which Hornet loves. Hornet loves gaslighting.
We love the
so He was
gaslighting.
very, very happy to read that. He said, "Wow, those." It's much better this way now because the pigs can learn even harder in their cushy little farmer's house and
yeah.
their trade with the outside.
Essentially, it's just a continuation on the idea that the leadership will enrich itself at all opportunities because there's nothing stopping them. So,
yeah.
Also, remember, strength to the leaders is strength to the people.
oh yes,
Of course. And then the other notable thing is that the storm comes through and breaks the fucking windmill, like, just before it was done.
yeah. And that's just a shit happens moment, right?
No,
That
it
was just a
actually-
shit happens.
I'm pretty sure. No,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was noted as a little bit of a like a by sentence just slipped in there that all the other neighboring like farms had stated that the walls of their windmill were literally too narrow to carry the weight.
Yeah.
I
The windmill
did
was done
mention that.
shoddily.
Yeah. And
Okay,
so-
that was the
yeah.
thing that I wanted to ask about.
and then the pigs were all like the evil humans just are talking bad about us, blah 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 blah, and then it's like no, you suck.
Yeah, that was one of those ones where I didn't know if that was like if that was meant as a yeah they're actually fucking up, or if that was like legitimately like okay this is to parallel or have a parallel for the propagandization.
I think it's probably
of those.
50-50.
I was kind of reading it, yeah, as like a technical, a good. Sorry to talk over you, Anna. I was reading it
No,
as
you go for it.
a technical critique that they were too proud to take. And sure, there's propaganda going on too, but if you acknowledge or accept that the critique that is being given to you is true, then you are acknowledging that in that instance you are not superior to your opponent, therefore unacceptable.
I will note something that is incredibly funny that I didn't think about when I first read the book, which is they blame Snowball for this, right?
Yeah.
And they're actually, in a technical sense, correct to blame Snowball because
yeah?
they stole plans from Snowball. And Snowball's plans were bad.
It was his fault.
Aha!
I knew it.
He deserved it. He deserved it then.
The one thing I'll
That's
say
pretty
there is I do wonder if that's one of those things where if those were actually the plans that Snowball built, or if those were the plans that Napoleon said, well, you know, I know better, so I'm going to change a few things so that I can really believe it's my own.
Yeah, could
Well,
be.
I
You
mean,
never know.
who fucking knows, right? But like in the, just at least from the sense of like, well, Napoleon did steal the plans, so
Yeah.
in a roundabout sense, it's kind of Snowball's fault.
Yeah, that bit is funny, you're right.
So yeah, that's all of chapter 6.
Oh, and Boxer gets shafted the entire time.
The entire
Boxer,
poor
like-
story, man.
Is just fucking toiling his life away because he well and truly believes in what they're doing.
Comrade Napoleon is always right.
Yeah, exactly. If he just works a little harder, if you just shoot your guns.
Work hard, give 110%, you'll get your just rewards in the end.
Definitely. That's why they set aside the little pen in the corner for all of the animals.
Oh
when
yeah,
they
for
are too
retirement.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
which none of them are
Some
that
were
old
saying,
yet.
like an
conveniently.
anniversary pen. Like,
okay.
you've worked 20 years at the company. Here's a pen.
Here's a pen. Hey, look, for a farm animal, that's heaven. Okay.
That's true. That's true.
Jeez. I do. Just last bit before we move on. I do find it the parallels in terminology between the American dream and communism to be interesting. Like, just work hard, and you'll get your reward, kind of a thing, is said in both instances. It's just said from a very different perspective.
I can't wait for Of Mice and Men. I can't wait for Of Mice and Men.
Oh no.
get
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
So we get into chapter 7. We get our hard winter. We get all of the animals are of course forced to sacrifice because you know it's a hard winter, except for the people who need to do the thinking because
Yeah.
they can think our way out of this.
Yeah.
And of course the enforcement arm of the state. We wouldn't want them to go hungry either.
They might stop enforcing.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
might start
That's a
enforcing on
problem.
us, and that would be very bad.
Yeah. So we make sure that the enforcement arm is well taken care of. Snowball, we really start to lean into Snowball becoming the all-encompassing scapegoat for being a little bitch.
Every little thing, man.
Yep. And we changed the narrative, so now Snowball was never even at the Battle of the Cowshed. And is this the point where Napoleon says it was actually me who charged the guns? Or is
Yes.
that a little bit later?
I don't know. No, I think
Yes.
I think it's actually a third stage. My
Yeah, I think
notes-
it's the third stage a little bit later when Napoleon is like, I charged the guns.
Look on the notes. If there's in one of the later chapters, there's a mention of it. That'll let you know.
It just says ego grows.
That's not it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Napoleon continues to build into semi-religious figure. I think it's a third bit, but it's not really important.
It's not, yeah.
Frankly, when it happens.
Well, he awards himself Animal Hero First Class and Animal Hero Second Class.
I think that might be it.
I do appreciate that you can immediately tell Animal Hero, Hero of the Soviet Union. Got it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward.
Weird. So yeah, we explained to everyone that they all actually misremember that Snowball had been there at the Battle of the Cowshed, and that it was actually Napoleon who led us to a glorious victory. Very helpful. Thank you, Mr. Napoleon.
Yeah.
We execute some dirty collaborators.
Oh yeah, and the dogs.
Oh yeah.
And then you...
It was very interesting, and also I'm sure very appropriate to life, about how immediate that happened. Like, all was good, all was harmonious, and then that moment happened and went straight to murder. Straight to slaughter. Boom. It's like, oh, shit. And it wasn't like, we'll start it once and see how it goes. It's like everyone dies.
we got to purge some people.
Yeah.
I mean, those people could be, anti-revolutionaries.
Oh, God.
And so obviously that... We get into Stalin's purges there, which, frankly, in real life didn't ever really stop. They just kind of paused because of World War II.
Yeah, he had other things on his mind.
Yeah, he was a little bit busy, and he couldn't afford to keep executing his competent generals.
Oh God.
But I do know that the rumor is that... Oh, hi, Abby. Immediately, Stalin's death... surrounding Stalin's death was that a new purge was likely coming, and so there's some discussion on whether Stalin's death was
assisted.
Yeah, assisted or not.
Yeah, because they're like, we don't need another one of those purges, man. I remember.
The one that I seem to remember was that he definitely could have been saved, but nobody wanted to go into his room for like 3 days.
There's a whole comedy on that.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, the death of Stalin. It's great.
Death
Great.
of Stalin, it's so good.
Great movie.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you definitely should watch
That's Steve Buscemi too.
So any other further thoughts on 7?
This is also the chapter, if I remember correctly, where the Beast of England song is banned. Correct?
I don't know if I noted that one specifically where it happened.
I think so, yeah, because that's part of the
Yeah.
killing the executing all of those pesky
Well,
revolutionaries.
we don't have time for revolutionaries anymore. Yeah, it's over. The revolution is past.
Yeah.
Now it's obedience to the state.
Yeah, and I think part of the point there too is that it's really gets hammered home now.
Real quick,
from here
Abigail,
on.
no, that's another Fed. Sorry.
Yeah, it's another Fed.
Yeah, okay.
What really gets hammered home from here on is that it's very important that the animals are forgetting that life actually, at this point, may have been better under Jones.
Yeah, we've moved past that point of remembrance, which is, like, IRL really fucking sad.
Yeah. And that's part of that, obviously, is getting rid of any inconvenient propaganda pieces, in this case, like the Beast of England, that might allude to the idea that you could have something better than this, because, the state wants to solidify its power. It is my Fed, yes.
You. Okay. I can't even respond to that. I'm just gonna let that be.
There's a lot of questions that could arise from that.
A lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep it packed.
There's a lot there.
I think she liked it though, Zom. I'm gonna clarify.
Oh my god.
Remember, only the kids are FBI, so we all know what that says about Zom.
Oh no, you like the ATF, you fucking bitch.
Sorry, babe. I had to.
Yours is
For the good of the
broken
state. That's what I've learned from this.
For Comrade Napoleon.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
for Comrade Napoleon.
Napoleon is always right.
Too much, Zombly.
No. All right, does that wrap up our thoughts on that chapter?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the chapter was a
think
lot
so.
of, I won't call it filler per se, but there was a lot of time spent just talking about Napoleon essentially kind of his ego and what his new
His new plans.
Not plans, but like how he wanted to be treated, how he was treated, the new personality, I guess, that he was showing, and
Yeah,
the
his new
pomp and
Kohaku.
circumstance, all that stuff. So there was like a
Mask
whole lot of
off
detail.
moment.
But
Yeah.
I do like the part where you have in quotes, Hornet, the joy of service that really starts to come out. In this,
oh yeah,
in that
yes.
chapter.
Squealer starts to talk about the joy of service quite a lot. Distract, yeah. Which is an incredible fucking statement to make to people who are actually working when you're not.
Well, no, he's working very hard. He has to think all
his
day.
brain
Got to
power.
think. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why they need the beds and the milk and the apples. Remember?
Yeah,
Yeah, because they're working so hard with their brains.
exactly.
Yeah.
For the good of everyone. So chapter 8, we finally get to the thou shalt
Later,
not
Abigail.
kill. Later, Abby. Thou shalt not kill commandment gets a little revision.
Yes.
Which obviously it has to, be considering that we just killed a bunch of animals.
A lot of people, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
a lot
But
of traders,
can-
sorry.
Yeah, of course, traders. But
God has
conveniently,
come down and driven me Arata for this.
conveniently, no one can read anyway aside from the pigs, really, and Benjamin.
Benjamin.
And you know, it's always been that way. That's what it's always said.
Don't worry about it.
Propaganda machine go burr in this one with the stats of how much
yeah.
better life is. 200%
That's-
increase in wheat and all that.
That's actually very funny because the this not that Orwell would know this at this point because we didn't have the data because the wall hadn't fallen. But if you look at the Soviets' production of various things, right? If you're trying to look at the Soviet economy pre and post World War II, the communists claimed that they had completely recovered from World War II and sometime in like the mid 50s or something. Well, as it turns out, the wheat production never actually made it back to pre-World War II numbers ever. Period.
Wow. That's bad.
Yeah. And it's very interesting, right? It's again, not that Orwell could have known this because we didn't have the data available to us for another 40 or 50 years from when he wrote this. But the communists did like to extol the production numbers that they claimed, and
Yeah.
their made up funny money economy.
I think we're on 8.
Welcome back, Allied.
Chapter 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, chapter
Okay.
8.
George has a falcon in
Continuing numbers and production.
highlighting the L's in
Yes. And it obviously was used as a way to try to show off, and I mean, communist China does this too, right? Like where they try to extol to the world about how great they are and how
Oh yeah, and
productive
they've
are.
gotten banned from like every organization because they just keep fucking lying.
Yeah.
The Great China.
The Green China.
Isn't it like the closest we've got to an actual proper estimation of their population, like 400,000 people less than they claim?
Ugh. I
Something
wouldn't
like
know,
that.
but it would make sense. Like, it's hard to trust a word that comes out of someone's mouth when you've catch them in like 50 different lies in like a week. Like, okay,
It's different this time though.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. The timber sale goes back and forth.
I find
and
that
they
very
get-
interesting. Not to jump in on you. The way the timber sale, to me, feels like Napoleon is retarded and he can't make up his mind, and he's just wishy-washy back and forth. And then at the end, it's like, oh, I intended this the whole time. Master plan.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a lot of that. Like I intended this the whole time, just as all according to Kikaku thing.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
means
Which we
plan.
play.
God damn it.
Thank you.
But there's but I think there might be like some legitimately like I don't know if there was like some deal that that the Soviets were trying to get for like trying to get resources at a better price or something.
Oh yeah. I'm sure there was.
Well, I was gonna
always
ask
that.
if
But
that would have been almost with the timber sale, and then that correlates directly to the Battle of the Windmill because Mr. Frederick's the one that initiates that. If that would have been almost kind of supposed to be a stand-in for like what the Nazis and Soviets did.
Yeah, no, that's almost certainly supposed to be a stand-in for World War II, where
Okay, that makes sense. So Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact then.
Yeah, Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact and all that fucking bullshit, and the fact that the Soviets actually had quite a lot of trade with the Germans right up until Operation Barbarossa happened. In fact, the Germans went out of their way to make sure that they received a couple resource shipments before invading the Soviet Union. Like, made sure those trains were across the border.
That's funny.
If
Which is good.
In that light, if that's kind of the case, I'm curious if the two different neighboring farmers, which is like, I forget, a P word and then
Frederick.
And then Frederick. Yeah, okay. Like,
Yeah.
if those do those two different farmers are they supposed to stand in for like Nazi Germany / Hitler, but the one who is like more standoffish and rude?
I think Frederick is supposed to be Germany.
Interesting.
Frederick is Germany, as I would understand, and I think the other one, Pinkerton or whatever his name is Britain.
Pilkington.
I think he's supposed to be England.
The one who was
English,
like
yeah.
genteel and what do you call it? And lazy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to be Great Britain. Interesting.
I believe so, yeah.
I'm
you,
just gonna remember his name as Pilk from now on.
Pilk. Yeah, and I think you can technically read him as the United States too if you wanted to.
Oh my.
Just the Allies in general.
Yeah, the Allies generic.
Yeah.
So
So I don't think they ever, during like when Napoleon's spreading the propaganda about the surrounding farms, I know he talks a lot about how terrible the conditions are on Mr. Frederick's farm. I can't recall exactly if they ever go into the conditions on the Pinkertons' farm.
I don't think they really do.
And isn't it supposed to be that Molly or whatever went to the Pinkerton's farm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe
Yes.
so.
Okay. So that's
It looks like they insulted them. Insulting messages have been sent to Pilkington. The pigeons had been told to avoid Pinchfield Farm and to alter their slogan from "Death to Frederick" to "Death to Pilkington." So it looks like
so they switched
kind
the
of a back
opposite
and
way
forth
in this sense.
Yeah, and historically there was a lot of back and forth there between Nazi Germany and like the Western Allies as far as like who the Soviet Union was looking at, like trying to get support from, and who they weren't, and all that bullshit. Let's see here. So obviously there is the Battle of the Windmill, which is just World War II stand-in in general, where the Soviet industrial base is demolished by the Germans, and as happens here, the windmill gets fucking, ruined.
Again.
And then alcohol, as noted down here, alcohol, which is a stand-in for all forms of excess. I don't know if it's supposed to be a stand-in for excess per se, or if it's more supposed to be that continued slide into the pigs acting more and more and more like Jones.
Well, that's
they explicitly stated earlier, like in the earlier chapter, saying that no animal shall drink alcohol or whatever, and then they ended up drinking alcohol later.
It was interesting to me because that chapter spends a lot of time discussing the alcohol. Like what's his name? Napoleon is declared sick, and I think they think
he's going to die.
I think the actual takeaway here,
hangover.
Yeah, he's just hungover. It's like, yeah, okay. But the book goes in really hard on that, and I felt like it deserved some kind of discussion if the book's going to go that hard on it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that it's I don't know if it's supposed to be all forms of excess or just that they're trying to hammer home the
slide towards what you were against in the first place.
Yeah, just throwing out yet another fucking commandment where what do they edit it to? It's like to excess. No, you will not drink alcohol to excess.
Yeah.
To excess, yeah.
Yeah, Saber, you could have learned something from that one, I think. But
oh god.
Why? Why did I catch that stray?
Look, we're all concerned about you and that alcohol consumption, okay, bud?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're your friends, you know?
Okay. Never, only in moderation, never in excess.
Yep.
Fucking commie.
Three.
Oh,
jeez.
I don't know if I've got much else to impart. No. So, are we all good on chapter 8?
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay.
I think so.
Chapter 9 is that Napoleon continues to build himself into a semi-religious figure. Moses comes back because, that's convenient to the regime to have someone preaching to the peasantry about Candy Mountain or whatever.
Yeah. Found it very interesting that it took that long for him to come back, but I suppose they were busy until then.
Yeah, they were a little busy, and I don't know from a historical perspective, and damn you might know this, when the Orthodox Church was brought in, if it was before or after World War II, historically speaking.
I would honestly, if I were to guess, I'd say somewhere in the middle, but I'm pretty sure it'd be out. But that's citation needed.
Yeah. And then Boxer finally gets what he fucking deserves for being a dirty communist.
Oh, yeah.
He gets turned into something very sticky.
That poor fella. Very sticky, you say.
Yes, very sticky. And I think what's really interesting about that too is that we wrap up. I don't know, wrap up, but like we've been hammering home a couple times before this the idea that Benjamin is aware he's so old he doesn't give a shit. Like he's like this is just another phase of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, eventually this too shall pass type of shit.
The classic. I'm not gonna fix this anyhow. So.
Yeah, I'm going to do my thing and not work too hard and just kind of vibe. And so we do finally get a bit of a conclusion where even someone as unfazed as Benjamin is like, man, this is fucked.
It gets personal. It gets personal because he really liked that old horse.
Yeah. And it is unfortunate, but you know, all dirty communists do deserve to go to the glue factory, so I think it's only fair.
The horse is one of those guys that I'm like, I feel for because there is a certain level of, I don't know, like solidarity in work or like respect in it or something. Like, you know, I respect a man or woman. I respect a person who fucking, you know, works really damn hard and doesn't create drama, and that's exactly who he is.
Essentially, like, yes, the ideals were misplaced, but at the same time, is like he put in the work.
They were, yeah. And he was naive, but he was well-meaning. He put in the work. He deserved his good ending, but he can get fucked.
Yeah.
I feel like too, like with his death, it seems like the final nail in the coffin of like any hope for, you know, the animal farm to actually become anything. It's like everyone's like, oh, well, if Boxer is gone, well, that's it. It's done. It's over, guys. Time to pack up and go home.
It's
like
over.
Yeah. Like you kind of see it throughout the course of the book, and you definitely with the whole Napoleon's mask off moment.
Yeah.
Where he just purges everybody on the farm. Like the tone definitely shifts. You can feel it. But I feel like with the death of Boxer, it's like, no, this is it. It's like we've settled here. This is it. It's not going to be changed.
And
the whole tone kind of went from first of all, this is the utopia, this is great, we're doing a great thing, and then it went to we're still doing a great thing, but we got to do some rough stuff in order to get it done, and then it shifted into the purges to I think maybe we're still gonna have a good ending here, but God, this sucks. And then finally with him dying, I think it was like, oh, this sucks right now, and we're not going anywhere good. Oh God.
And then it's going to get worse.
Yeah. Yes. I think that was a general consensus of the animals, anyhow.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. I'm gonna just real quick touch on chapter 10 and just combine them because I have a point that I think is appropriate now. But chapter 10 is just that time passes after all of this. The animals eventually forget about all of this crap. The only one left on the farm who still remembers it is Benjamin, and he's just sad.
He's just sad.
And then the pigs eventually turn into humans, so they become the very Jones that they drove out.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think weird. I really think it's interesting that Orwell, and I think this is partly from the point of view of the Soviet Union was still at or approaching its height. And so he didn't really see that it was going to collapse in a mere 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
But he essentially goes with the North Korea ending, right? Where there is no hope, right? There is just a perpetual, this sucks, but it sucks even worse than it ever has, and there's nothing anyone can do to unfuck it.
We're going to keep doing it, though, because we don't want Jones to come back.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's our excuse here. But I think that he the one thing that I think Orwell missed, especially when it comes to a country as large as the Soviet Union, and again, I don't blame him for this because, you know, this is the benefit of hindsight, is that as the animals, quote unquote, become more disillusioned, eventually they, in a sense, will end up back at square one, right? Where life sucks, and I hate this. I'm willing to do something about it.
The cycle of
finally.
revolution will begin again. Yes.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
flat circle.
Oh no. If shit gets bad enough, eventually the system will collapse in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's a revolution or people just stop doing their job. Like, when it comes with the Soviet Union specifically, it was kind of like, if I'm recalling correctly, people just kind of stopped caring. Like, there was so little give a shit left in the system that no one really was willing to do their job anymore.
It makes perfect sense too. Why the fuck would I work if I'm going to get nothing for it and I get to be hungry tonight whether I'm tired or not? I might as well be hungry and not tired.
Exactly.
Well, why work for an A when you can get a D and still
the same.
get the same effort as an A? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do I find it interesting. Orwell did predict North Korea, but did not predict the Soviet Union as an ending. And North Korea only really works because they have just such a, it's a fairly small country and they have an extremely tight grip on the populace.
And also they just keep getting money shoveled into them by China because they're a border state.
Yep, they keep getting propped up by first Russia and then eventually China. And if something ever happens to China, they are well and truly fucked.
Which, you know, sucks in the short term for the North Korean people, but long term that might actually be a nice ending.
Yeah, potentially.
China implodes, and then the Korean Peninsula probably gets a bunch of radiation spikes, to be honest.
Yeah, God, yeah.
That's a whole other problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I very much appreciate that. Aside from that one issue, George, like Orwell pretty well hits it all on the nose here with the Soviet Union and the ultimate outcome of all of this nonsense.
He was very prophetic. Yes.
He was.
You were pretty spot on with the timeline earlier with or George Orwell was pretty spot on with the timeline of introducing Moses again, because Stalin did allow the Russian Orthodox to come back, to officially kind of come back once the tide of World War II shifted in the Soviet Union's favor.
Interesting.
And kind of realized that they were going to have a long-standing country at that point.
Late World War II. Okay, that's good to know.
The PDF, at least that I linked at the bottom, says George Orwell, London, 1946.
Yeah. So right after the end of the.
That's ridiculous. That was so well before a lot of that shit happened.
I know.
Yeah.
So then, obviously, with chapter 10 again, we get the famous line: "All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others," which is
so
the
good.
final commandment that gets changed.
Such a great line.
It's so good.
And something I appreciate too is that I don't think it's not really ever made clear when that was changed, right? Because no one asks about it until this point.
Just we checked later and it was like, oh, it was there.
Yeah. But like through most of the book, it's where the we are asking about specific lines, like what does line whatever say. So we don't really know when that line, that last "all animals are equal" line, was changed, and I suppose that kind of feeds well into the idea of we don't know when exactly it is that the pigs became men, but they did.
And my theory though is that Napoleon was one all along. Not in like a you know, he was actually a pig pretending, or a human pretending to be a pig, but like ideologically, right? Like there were plenty of people and groups in there that were like you know what was Snowball and them that were well-meaning and intentioned, even though they're retarded, and they're trying to, you know, better mankind or animal kind or whatever, right? Just based on the story here, I get this feeling that Napoleon was a human all along. He thought like a human. He wanted to be a human. He wanted to be that person in charge all along. And this was just a convenient means to his ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair take on that.
I did have two questions about chapter 10 to ask y'all.
Okay.
One was if you guys thought there's any significance, because I know it could just be showing that the pigs are now just like the humans because they're cheating just like the humans are. Behind the the whole, they both play an ace of spades at the same time.
Mhm.
If there's any significance behind that besides just the pigs are down just like the humans.
I feel like it's just like the humans thing to me. Because
Yeah.
Napoleon was always like that. I don't think that was like a huge revelation that he would be duplicitous or less than forthcoming with the truth.
Yeah, I think it's just supposed to illustrate that there is no meaningful difference between the two anymore.
Or he always has a plan or something. He's always looking out for himself rather than, he like even if like with like playing cards, even if he's just like enjoying company and drink and like trying to like be a human too, he's always going to be looking out for himself more than anything.
Which
And
a
the
bit of that
second
is
part
fine.
to that
Go ahead.
scenario, sorry, Hornet.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
If you think Orwell might have been trying to comment on anything with how all these leaders of the various farms are now all sitting at a table together, seemingly having a grand old time.
Yeah, the fact that the other farms kind of compromised with and accepted them. Yeah.
I think again I think there's a lot of talk to be had there about the idea that of the fact that the ending of this book is somewhat prophetic, and a lot of the things that Orwell talks about here end up being very universally applicable to a lot of authoritarian governments, and especially to communists. But frankly, Stalin dealt with the Western Allies post-war, but not really in good faith. But that isn't to say that post-Stalin that didn't happen. And it's very interesting because George Orwell didn't really live to see post-Stalin.
It's like he
George
knew.
Orwell died like 10 years after the publishing of this book. Like he died just after he published 1984 in like 1950 something, like 53 or 54.
And I mean, like, you can easily say, just like looking at 1984 and then also looking at Animal Farm, that George Orwell, on the whole, is pretty anti-authoritarian. So, like, you could essentially make the argument that, like, Orwell just hates, like, people in power. He has, like, authority issues, essentially. So, like, whether or not he's, like, making an indictment on the farmers, I mean, if you made that argument, I'd probably believe it, because he just kind of seems to hate authority in general.
That's kind of where I was going with that, with how if Frederick's supposed to be Germany and then Pinkertons are supposed to be England or the U.S. or just the Allies in general, especially Pinkerton at the end, where he says, we all have classes of our own.
Mm-hmm.
If that wasn't like a nudge, wink, wink, that even though other countries might not be capitalist or might not be communist or authoritarian, they have these same issues, perverting them.
It's still the people in power trying to control the people that they're in charge of.
Yeah, and I think that's actually, when you're looking at it from an anti-authoritarian kind of perspective, I think that's actually very important to note that we spend at least a brief time discussing the idea that the other farms are like, ooh, you're making your poor peasants work awfully hard for awfully little anything.
That's interesting.
We should look at implementing some of these ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that obviously that gets explored much more heavily in 1984, which we will read eventually. That's on the list. But I think that Orwell was being a little cynical with that in viewing this as, even if these other countries don't become communist per se, the expectation is that they are going to start to use a lot of the communists' ideas, especially ideas of how to control a populace.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, I think that we all have had a boss that takes it a little his job a little too seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Enjoys being the boss just a little too much. And so like I don't
Well, remember, it's for your own good.
I mean like oh yeah, for sure.
yeah.
It's for the company's bottom line.
I'm
So,
sure you
like-
that your comrade does not take joy in doing what he must.
So like it's like people in power are going to abuse power, and it doesn't really matter if it's like a king or Stalin or Hitler or who it is. They're just the people in power are going to abuse that power for the sake of their own benefit regardless.
It's basic human nature, really.
Yeah, and I think that, frankly, I think the end commentary there is more about governments than it is about corporations, right, or capitalists per se. And ironically enough, I think that we've actually seen that play out too, in a number of countries. Britain.
No, not Britain.
No, not Britain. Never mind.
No, couldn't be.
No, no.
Britain's working really good nowadays. Very
Yeah, but
stable.
their jury trials are in good shape. And
Oh god.
definitely won't be going anywhere.
Incidentally, in a few years, can I use y'all as like a reference for my application for fucking what's the word I'm looking for?
Immigration?
Refugee status. There we go.
Yeah. By all means.
Of course, of course.
Purely
So-
hypothetically, of course.
And I'm going to sidetrack us for just a moment. I know that we're getting close to when you got to go. So
Yeah. I am logging into said applications as we speak.
Well, we've got to
Okay.
10th. We've got to the 10th chapter. We're finished. Just with what
Yeah,
we
we've
needed.
Yeah,
we've
we've-
summarized
Yeah.
the book.
yeah, we did hurry ourselves along a little bit there.
That's okay.
But I'm glad that I can finally say that Boxer got what he deserved for being a dirty communist.
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
All
That's what
communists
matters.
deserve to be turned into glue.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh god. So yeah, if like there's any general broader strokes of discussion about the book, now it's fine.
I'm getting a lot of broad strokes.
Okay,
but
stop. Stop, hey bitch.
Jesus Christ.
I know it's horrible. I don't know how you put up with him. God.
Look, he
Really, you're a
usually gets
saint for
his
putting up
wiggles
with him.
out here.
Oh,
I get the better version, so he gets his wiggles out here, so
so you're using
That what he
us.
calls them is the Wiggles? Ugh.
the wiggles.
All right.
The rowdy boy energy.
Hmm.
Go with the boys, go.
Oh, you rowdy boy, you. Okay, I see.
You rowdy boy, you.
God. Well, I don't know. We pretty much, while we were going through that, talked, I think, about all the important pieces of the book.
Yeah, no, it worked out.
There's not really a lot of theory crafting to do, I don't think, outside of that, because it's an extremely on-the-nose piece, right? It's not just like, you know, an allegory for communism. It's literally just the fucking retelling of the history of the USSR.
Mm-hmm. But you
You
know,
were
with
saying
that-
United States, weren't you?
I almost. And I was like, wait, no, that's the wrong country. Wrong United.
I
Yeah,
really
so-
wish
I
Orwell
will
would have
say,
lived to
though-
see the end of this USSR.
I know. I would have loved to hear his takes on
That would have been so good.
he would have enjoyed it too because he wouldn't need to edit any of his books.
Yeah, I know. He would have been happy. He would have. Oh, okay. Well, there's that. He might need to add an extra prologue into Animal Farm right at the end.
Hmm.
Epilogue.
Epilogue.
Yeah.
I was
Words are
like,
hard.
that doesn't sound
No,
right.
not prologue. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So all in all, we're 10 minutes early, but I think that's okay.
We can wrap it there.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it there. I don't know if everyone has any other thoughts on the book.
Not particularly.
I can stop getting my ass
yeah.
clapped by these fucking Seraph fighters.
Yeah, you kind of
Yeah, I
suck
noticed
after
you're
watching
having
this.
you're having a
Wow.
time over there.
Dude,
Yeah, I'm watching that.
on this particular mission, if you happen to get a checkpoint at that position, you get fucked. 'Cause
You get
everyone,
what you fucking deserve.
everyone spawns. I think I killed the engines too quick too, so there's too many enemies at once. But that's okay.
But thank you, all one person who watched the stream. Very much appreciated. I
No,
don't know
we-
if Allied is still here.
We had a few come in and out, which was rather surprising.
That's good. I mean, we had people actually engage, which
Yeah.
is more than you usually get.
Ooh,
So,
backhanded compliment.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, normally, everyone who watches our stuff just sucks. So,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm glad that we decided to try this idea. It's good. I think next stream is Lord of the Flies.
We're doing Lord of the Flies next, correct?
Yeah, we're doing Lord of the Flies. We are aiming to have it done by Sunday for Sunday stream.
Okay.
sir, yes, sir.
This Sunday?
This Sunday. Do you not want? I mean, we can do half Lord of the Flies or whatever. I mean, like we're right now we're just catching up anyway on a couple short books.
It's a really easy read. It's easier
How long is
than
Lord of the
Animal
Flies?
Like 200 pages.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay,
200
never mind. I
pages,
can do
but
that
it's-
overnight, basically.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's similar density to.
Oh, never
Animal
mind. I'm
Farm.
fine. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
no,
keep thinking. For some reason, when I think of books, I think of like fucking Lord of the Rings, not this.
Yeah.
No, we'll get to books like that.
Read
Don't
it
you worry.
by Sunday.
Yeah, but all three Lord of the Rings plus The Hobbit by Sunday. Good luck.
That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lit class, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I expect your essay as well.
If you expect my essay, I expect your rubric and the notes and the fucking comments.
If you expect my
Okay.
essay, you can go suck a dick.
APA,
Can I have the course syllabus,
MLA.
please?
Oh god.
Uh,
Anyway, good job, team. Good job. We'll see everyone Sunday.
Yep. Fuck
That
off.
works.
Bunch of bitches.
It's fine, Zon. It'll be fine though. I write the essay with AI. You grade it with AI. Everything's fine.
Yeah, it's good.